Hello, we have the pleasure to have Anna Mbise with us today. And Anna Mbise is a big fan, someone who dedicated her life to Kiswahili to be learned. Am I true or wrong about it?
You are very right.
And can you tell us why you are today in Pretoria?
Today I'm in Pretoria attending this symposium about African Union is commemorating 20 years anniversary, and I find it very important symposium as we reflect about the journey that the African Union has gone through.
Okay, so what is, in the light of your experience, the importance basically of this 2 days, 3 days symposium?
This 3-day symposium is very important because we have committed to implement various development agenda as African countries, and we are still struggling to develop and to sustain development. So as we are in the journey of developing ourselves, it is important to get time to reflect and to see how we can shape the journey, how we can improve the way we are moving with development processes, and as well identify how we can build more power.
So let's come back to the linguistic question. What do you think is today's state of Kiswahili in Eastern Africa?
The state of Kiswahili in East Africa, I would say Kiswahili is growing, not only in East Africa but all over the world. Like most African countries today, most people speak Kiswahili, and there are some programs that have been introduced to most countries, like here in South Africa. Now the government, I think some years back, committed to starting teaching Kiswahili in their schools. And myself, I was in 2012 to 13, I was in the US teaching Kiswahili, and I realized that most universities do have Kiswahili courses, and that tells me how Kiswahili has been finding its own way in the world.
Wonderful. We know it's a regional language that is spoken in different countries. So, what would you say to people who think we should just forget about our African languages and then work with English, French, or Portuguese?
First of all, I'm a friend of diversity because I believe that the world is more beautiful when we are different, and that's what we have to do, is to embrace diversity. I mean, even languages. So it wouldn't look very beautiful when you go to a country where there is nothing new to learn about. So for those who think that we could ignore our languages, to me, I don't support that, and my view is that anyone has to keep their language. People have to keep their languages, because then if I am Tanzanian, I speak Kiswahili, I have to understand it very well, so that a person like you coming from Senegal can learn from me, who is a native speaker, and understand the language. And if you have kept your language intact, that you understand it, when I come to Senegal, I am in a position to learn from you, knowing and trusting that you know it very well. So it brings no harm for one to know their languages, but because also we are the global citizens, the interaction has grown. Today you go to the US, you go to the UK, you go to Japan. It is also very important to learn others' language. But for me, I relate this to charity begins at home. You have to understand your language. It is your identity. the language that you identify yourselves with, and then learn others' language. That is how we can better embrace diversity and make this world a better place to stay. And to add to this, I'm writing my Kiswahili book. I'm actually in the final stages, and I have written one poem about Kiswahili, but there is a lot of poems that talk about Africa, talk about language, our food. And I don't mean to say everything that we have in Africa is the best, but I believe that it is better we have them, and then we learn from others, and then we will be in a situation that we will see the differences and enjoy.
I have to take this moment to just pay tribute to a friend of mine who really fought all his life for the Kiswahili to be taught. That was Ken Waligora, a journalist, a fellow journalist who passed. So what is today your message to Africa, because you are being interviewed by Impulse Radio and Amani TV, who are Pan-African? What is your message to Africa?
My message to Africans is that African languages are our identities, and that's what differentiates us from other people from other parts of the world. Knowing them doesn't mean that we don't love others, but it means that we love ourselves, and we are in position to love what others have. So we have to first love what we have, and then we will be in a position also to love or learn from others. So we have to continue keeping our language, understanding, and even passing those languages to our children, because now the challenge that we have is that our children really are missing a lot, because we are no longer really embracing our languages or our staffs. But that is something that we are responsible for keeping and preserving whatever we have as Africans, and even other countries, other continents in the world, they are responsible for keeping what they have, so that we have something to learn from each other.
Ashanti Sada.
Thank you.